Just two preliminary notes to start us off. Father John, I have to tell you, I am very jealous of Father John today, because Father John's on vacation all weekend, a place with a lot of sunshine. So if you see Father John the end of next week, he looks like he has a tan, ask him where he went for vacation, all right? See what he says. Second little note for you parents and grandparents that are here, you may recall that this past weekend, we had a special prayer of blessing for those boys and girls getting ready for First Holy Communion and Confirmation. And we still have some little name tags on the prayer tree there. So I encourage you, if you have not had the opportunity, to take the name card for, if it's a chalice, it's for a boy or girl who's making their First Holy Communion. If it's a little dove, it's for Confirmation. But between now and April, when they celebrate those sacraments, to pray every day that God will continue to be part of their lives. I'm going to ask all of you boys and girls in our parish school, beginning today all the way till Easter time, to remember in prayer those boys and girls in second grade getting ready for Holy Communion, and in sixth grade getting ready for Confirmation as well. I got to tell you, it's one of my all-time, my whole life favorite movies. No, it's not Star Wars. No, it's not Shrek, even though he had a lovely musical, Shrek. No, it's not Frozen. My all-time, one of my best favorite movies, I watch it every year between Palm Sunday and Easter. The movie's called Jesus of Nazareth, and tells the story that our Gospels tell us about Jesus' birth, and then his public ministry, caring for people, and his preaching, and then ultimately his death and resurrection. It tells the whole story in a beautiful movie. But there's one scene that I still remember in that movie. And it's kind of the picture on the movie of what we heard in the gospel today. Now, Jesus, like most times, he kind of has a little white robe on. He's got a beard that's a lot less gray than my beard. And he's walking along the beach. And he sees these two men in a boat. Simon, who we know as Peter, and his brother Andrew. And he stops to chat with them, starts talking to them a little bit. Then he says, you guys, you come and follow me. And he starts walking down the beach. We all know that part of the story. But what's special about this movie scene is this. I'm St. Peter. And I was listening to Jesus, and he's a pretty interesting guy. I like to consider what's going on. I want to follow him. And he takes a couple steps on the beach, and he stops. And he turns around, and he looks back on the water to his boat. Now, the boat is what Peter was working since he was a little kid. He knows everything about fishing. He knows everything about boats. He knows everything about sailing. That's his whole life right there. He has to make a choice. Am I going to go back to my old way of doing things? Or am I going to follow Jesus and do things in a different way? And you can see in the movie, Peter's got 1 foot on the beach to go with Jesus and 1 foot reaching towards the boat to go back to his other life. He has to make a choice. And it looks his face. He's going, which way should I go? Finally, he lets go of the boat and he walks down the beach and follows Jesus. Every time I think of that scene, I say to myself, there's a homily in there. A homily for you and me even today. You heard at the beginning in our introduction that when you and I were baptized is the first time Jesus through the church invited us to come and follow him. And when we get to celebrate reconciliation and Holy Communion for the first time, we're taking another step in following Jesus. When we receive the sacrament of confirmation in sixth grade, we're taking another step to follow Jesus. Our whole life, from the beginning in baptism, is following Jesus. But it's not something that happens once and then it's done. Every day, we got to make a choice between following Jesus or going the way I want to. See, following Jesus means being honest and truthful, even when lying can get me out of trouble. Following Jesus means to speak words that are kind, uplifting, and caring to people, and not biting, critical, and putting them down. Following Jesus means when I see somebody needs help, I'm ready to help instead of just doing my own selfish thing. Following Jesus means even though I'm busy and I'm doing a lot of things in school and in play, I still take time to pray because Jesus talked to God the Father, and he wants me to talk to God the Father also. Following Jesus can sometimes be hard, and we want to do it, but we don't always want to do it. And we need to make a choice. And because that choice is difficult and hard sometimes, that's why Jesus gives us himself in the Holy Eucharist at the altar. Jesus says, I know it's going to be hard to follow me, so I'm going to give you the strength and the energy and the power and the grace. Every time you receive Holy Communion, I'm going to fill your heart up to be more convinced to follow me. Just like Peter and Andrew, James and John followed Jesus. So today, I want you to remember St. Peter. One foot ready to follow Jesus, another foot to go back. And say, just as God gave Peter the choice, the grace to move forward, when we receive Holy Communion, God will give us the grace in Jesus to continue to follow Jesus and not get lost along the way.